Tigers on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshyn. Look up on the wall. There on the wall.
Good morning on a busy Wednesday. Home court advantage, forget it. This is the craziest thing. And it's never happened before. There's history here. In the second round of the NBA, we've never seen this before. Right now, home court advantage, 0 wins, 5 losses. Hey, I'm going to take it a step further because I doubt anybody else has brought this up. Go to the NHL. In 3 games played in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the home team is 1-2. Only Toronto has won the home game. Washington lost at home last night. Vegas lost at home last night. By the way, 2 Canadian teams were winners. Edmonton's amazing. They have been down in 5 straight playoff games. Last night they were down 2-0 in Washington and came back. And not in Washington. That was Carolina that won that game. This was in Vegas. Edmonton was down 2-0 early, I believe in the first period, in Vegas. I'm going back and forth between basketball and hockey, and I'm just loving it. But down 2-0, came back and won 4-2. They scored 2 late goals in about a minute and 20 seconds late in the third to win the game. I thought it was going to be 2 straight games going to overtime. So we got 2 Canadian teams ahead in series. I'm pulling for Canada, baby. They haven't won since 93. And Edmonton is a team to watch. But in the NHL, home ice advantage is 1-2. So at this point, if you look at it, 8 games played, home courts, in the second round of both the NBA and the NHL, and only 1 home team has won? How can that be? In the NBA, it's never happened before where a team, no team has won a home game after 5 games. That's not happening. That's crazy. So I have no idea what in the heck is going on with all of that. You work all year long to try and get yourself the best seeding, you play, and it doesn't seem to matter, which makes me wonder, how important really is home court advantage or is the regular season? Do teams really, like we've been talking with load management, and you want to be in the top 4 so you have home court, I think, in the long run. But with all of these upsets the way that they're going, the top 2 seeds are 0-2, OKC and Cleveland. Well, 0-3, excuse me. Cleveland lost again last night. Now, they're missing 2 key guys in Mobley and Garland. But there's 2 reasons for what's going on in my mind. One, parity, that all these teams are really pretty good, and maybe there's just no superstar that takes over like Kobe did or like Michael Jordan did or a Shaq who could dominate a game. I'm not sure, although Brunson seems to be fitting that kind of a bill. But is there truly a great superstar that you go, that guy's winning the championship, but he's probably going to win 2 or 3? Maybe it's Curry, who's now, who knows how long he's going to be out for. Or maybe you can't really get a gauge from the regular season because people don't care that much about the regular season. They would like to get in the top 4, but after that, they just don't care. And it all comes out because the style of play is totally different once we get into the playoffs. They just say, guys, we want movement of ball. We want a lot of cutting. We want beautiful team basketball. That's what we want in the regular season. In the playoffs, where these guys are going to play their hearts out, and they do, I commend them for that. They play so hard, it means so much to them in playoff time, but they allow such physicality. It's basically a fist fight every night, literally, where guys are pushing and shoving and grabbing, and it's allowed. It is totally allowed. It's just crazy to me, but that's where we're at. I kind of think the regular season doesn't really mean all that much because the style of play is totally different in the playoffs. There's not a major superstar at this point who's dominating, and unless you call LeBron, and last I looked, his team is out and he's 41. So there you go on that. You see something every day besides the 0-5 in the NBA on home court advantage. Last night, there was a record that was set in Major League Baseball, at least for a ballpark, which is pretty storied, and a baseball team. And that is the Cubs and San Francisco were tied going into the ninth. They were tied going into the 10th. The San Francisco Giants scored 9 runs. 9. In the 11th inning. Beat my Cubs. But that is the most runs in an extra inning in Wrigley Field history, which, goes back to like 1910 or something like that. Wrigley Field does. This record actually was a record that held up since 21. The last time anybody had a big extra inning was a 7-run 10th inning in 1921. Took that long. 9 runs. Holy mackerel. Congratulations to the San Francisco Giants. And it was interesting listening to Greg and Eli talk about the odds, in Texas is expected to be the betting favorite when we talk about according to FanDuel, it's Ohio State that's favored plus 600, Texas plus 650, Georgia and Penn State tied at 750, Oregon plus 850, Notre Dame is next at plus 1,200, then Alabama, then Clemson, they're at 1,400, LSU is next, Ole Miss, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 at plus 2,500. Michigan's 11, Tennessee plus 3,000, and Miami plus 3,300. So those are the favorites by the bettors early on. I'm assuming like Arch Manning is going to be the quarterback at Texas, but these bets are being placed. We have really no idea how all that's going to play out. But that is what you are seeing now, and it was interesting. Tulane was picked to win the American. Navy was second, Army was third, and Memphis was fourth. Texas San Antonio, I believe, was fifth. The good news is this. Tulane, which the Tigers beat the heck out of on Thanksgiving last year, and Navy, which was a great game in Navy last year. Both of those are home games. They don't play Army. And I think they get Texas San Antonio. I believe they're playing Texas San Antonio. I have to look here real quick. I don't know why I don't remember. But if there is a game with them, it's at home. So you'd get all those guys at home and you don't play Army. So I like the Tigers' chances just based on the fact that they would be at home. I'm sitting in the family leisure studio. It's pool time. You know that by now. This is not the best day to be outside, so maybe it's the day you head on over to I-40 and Wooden Road and check out what they've got, because they have 24-foot pools that start under $2,000. They have the liners that start sale price under $300, and they get all pool accessories out there for you for 20% off. And if you book now and you mention us, you get free installation, and you want to be on that installation list, because I've heard it's filling up quickly. And if you want, when the weather gets warm, and once June hits, the thermostat upstairs gets turned way up, you want your pool ready. So get in now. Today's a great day to go see our friends over at Family Leisure. All of a sudden, time has changed.
It's time for Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave.
Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
Good morning, Mr. Philippi. Would you have ever guessed 0-5 home court advantage in the NBA?
Totally surprised by that. And to your point, first off, talking about Texas, one of the reasons people are laying so much money on Texas is they just decided to throw $40 million more at NIL money, which doesn't even count on what they're paying Arch Manning. So, I mean, they're just spending a ton of money.
I have some connections to the Manning family. And that connection, who I trust implicitly, has said to me for the last 2 years, the Manning money that is reported is not going to Arch Manning. Now, maybe he's giving it to charity or whatever it is, but he has not been, this is according to the source, he has not been getting any NIL money. Now, maybe this year is different. I'm going to have to double check on that. But it seems incredible to me that we have come to the point. I remember last year everybody was aghast. Ohio State, they won the national championship and their budget was $24 million. And you're saying it's gone up to $40 million? We're going to have a salary cap. You know that, because the cap's going to be $22 million, and $20.5 million, whatever that number is going to be. That doesn't include NIL, which they'll figure out ways to do it. But $40 million, how is this ever going to be sustainable? Because how do you ever make your money back on a $40 million budget?
Well, the question is, how could you possibly have parity in college football if there is no control over how much teams spend? That was my point. Anyway, you were talking about LeBron James briefly there, and everybody keeps saying LeBron James has played 22 seasons. LeBron James has played in almost 300 playoff games, which is 3.5 seasons. LeBron James has played for 25.5 seasons.
That's fair.
In the NBA, and 3.5 of those seasons is playoff basketball, which is much, as you said, much more physical.
And he played in those games, right?
Yeah.
He didn't sit out.
He played in all
20
those games
like you do in those other seasons.
No load management in the playoffs for
Yeah.
LeBron James. And so he ran out of gas, and Luka Doncic just won't work out. He won't go to the gym.
Well,
so the Lakers
don't you think
just ran
that's
out of
going to
gas.
change when J.J. Redick comes out and says it after the GM at Dallas says part of the reason we got rid of you is you won't get in shape.
Yeah,
I can't believe that Doncic he's a smart dude. Okay,
I like the guy a lot.
He's a brilliant guy.
Funny.
He's funny, and he's a great player. And I honestly believe this time around he is going to. People are going to say to him, "Look, you just got to do it for 10 years, okay? You've got to change your lifestyle for 10 years. We're going to make it easy for you. We're hiring this trainer for you." Like, this is what LeBron did. LeBron was the first guy to spend $1 million.
Oh, LeBron's a gym rat.
On physical fit. No, I'm not talking about being in the gym shooting. I'm talking about physical fitness and nutrition. He hired a trainer and a nutritionist and probably some other people along the way, a budget of $1 million, all based on physical fitness and sports psychology. That's what Doncic has to do. He's going to make $300 million, for goodness sake. He's already made, I don't know how many millions. He can afford it.
Well, Doncic just played an entire season with LeBron James and wasn't motivated to do anything about getting in shape. Big story today, the Cowboys getting George Pickens, the receiver from the Steelers. Okay, they got George Pickens from the Steelers for future draft picks.
I saw that. Couldn't believe it.
All right, which is a better run organization, the Cowboys or the Steelers? The Steelers. The Steelers are a better run organization. The Cowboys are suckers and make dumb moves. So what do we take away from this? Something is wrong with George Pickens. Whether he is physically compromised or mentally compromised, you don't give away your number one receiver, 900 yards last year. Give away your number one receiver for future draft picks.
They acquired another receiver. His name escapes me at the moment. He was going to be.
That tells you everything you need to know.
No. He was going to be. Pickens was going to be their number 2 guy.
Right.
So the other guy is going to be number 1. And I guess they felt we didn't need a disgruntled guy because he wasn't going to get the same amount of catches. So they decided to send him away. But your point about what they got back makes you wonder. Now, I did read a couple of different stories on this where they think this makes, with CeeDee Lamb, this makes the Cowboys immediate contenders as long as they all stay healthy. But
so they're suddenly not going to be in the NFC East? I mean, are they going to move to, the AFC North and then they'd have a chance? No. They still suck. They're a terribly run organization, and they obviously got damaged goods because the Steelers wouldn't give them away for nothing, which is exactly what happened. The Celtics, of course, shot 63s and missed 45 of them. Both of which were postseason records, by the way.
Yeah.
They barely lost to the Knicks. The Celtics came into the playoffs. They had shot in the regular season 402 more threes than their opponents. They're not going to stop jacking up threes just because they had one bad game.
But here's my question for you. Seriously, you're up 20. See, I think a lot of this 0-5 stuff is that the home teams just didn't finish the games, and they played stupidly, or they let a ball go through their hands, or they let a ball go down so it could be grabbed before you could get a shot. I mean, it was crazy. Or you fouled people needlessly at the end of games. I mean, there's all kinds of weird stuff. But the Boston Celtics, to me, were the dumbest of all. And they're supposed to have this great, smart coach, right? They're up 20. They've already missed a bunch of threes. Up 20. Can Jaylen Brown drive? Can Jason Tatum drive? Can Holiday drive? Yes! And they're settling for 63s when they could go to the hole, get fouled, use time, take the game away. They are up 20. They gave it away by shooting all those threes.
That's what they play, and they're not going to stop. They're going to keep doing that, and I don't think anybody believes the Knicks are going to win that series. The Celtics are going to keep jacking up threes, and they're going to start hitting them. They had a game where they couldn't hit them, but that's what they play.
I tend to believe Boston still will win this series, but I'm not going to be shocked. This team, New York, they play great under pressure.
Well,
they got pieces. Brunson
has made himself a superstar this season.
And Anobi is good.
Yeah.
Bridges was a star in that game. Hart is a warrior. He's perfect for the playoffs because he loves beating up people. I'm telling you, New York can win this series.
New York can win this series, sure, but they're not going to.
Okay.
In the Pacers game, Tyrese Halliburton has obviously been annoyed by the fact that he was voted the most overrated player by his peers in the NBA because he's just been killing it.
What he did yesterday was
the shot to win that game
impressive.
Last night was absolutely amazing. Since 1998, teams are 3-1,064 when down by 7 points with a minute left to play in the fourth quarter.
Where did you get that stat?
ESPN.
1,060.
It may be 1,068, but I got it from ESPN this morning. When trailing by 7 points with a minute left to play in the fourth quarter or in overtime, of those three, two of them are the Pacers in the last week.
Wow.
And both of those were Tyrese Halliburton, who has also made himself into a superstar in the league in the last season. Okay, one thing I want to get to on this, and again, watching SportsCenter last night and this morning, I'm getting very sick of these the nicknames lately. The Ant-Man, the Joker, the Greek Freak. It just seems really juvenile to me. It's not, these players aren't giving themselves these nicknames. It's us. It's lazy sportscasters who are like just going to grab onto a nickname and ride it to death. And it just seems like they're junior high kids talking about it.
I don't know. I like the Greek Freak. I think that's a good name. Ant-Man, what do you...
Well, the Greek Freak, the only reason the Greek Freak caught on with sportscasters is people were too lazy to learn how to pronounce Antetokounmpo. They couldn't get their brain around the guy's name,
well,
so
first
they just
of all,
hung a nickname.
Let's just go to that pronunciation right there, and you've got the
sucks.
reason why, because I don't think that's the correct pronunciation.
I know.
And Antetokounmpo is
That's why I call him
Giannis.
Giannis.
But there's a million different ways to say it. The Greek Freak was creative.
And I really like Edwards a lot.
Oh, I do too.
But he did get called out by his coach,
Ooh,
Chris
I know.
Finch, who looks like he could be your lawyer. He doesn't look like a coach, but he called out Edwards for his lack of effort. When in the post game, when they were talking to Edwards, they said, this is what the coach said. What do you think that's true? And he just said, nah. So Ant Edwards is moving up to superstar status because
Finch could be in trouble.
When do you know when an NBA player has become a superstar? When he gets a coach fired.
Yeah, right.
So he's going to get Chris Finch fired.
Well, here's the deal. You know how many points Ant had at the half?
I don't remember.
1.
No. Well, he really didn't seem to be putting a lot of effort into it.
He was terrible. Absolutely awful last night.
Okay, wait a minute. Where was I? Got to check something in my notes here.
You're upset with all of us because you don't like Greek Freak and Ant.
I just think we're lazy. The Rams general manager in the NFL, the Rams general manager, complained that the Seahawks have forced them, when the Rams are in Seattle, have twice forced the Rams to share a hotel with a furry convention. Ha! For those of you who are not familiar with this furry thing, these are people who like to dress up like in animal costumes and get busy with one another. And apparently the Seahawks have somehow forced the Rams to share a hotel with them twice. Since when does the home team dictate what hotel the traveling team stays in?
Never that I've known.
No, there's no way the Seahawks could have stuck. They've got, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make them spend the time with people dressed up as giant teddy bears getting hammered in the bar.
Hey, the last I looked, there's always, every team has, just like every school has, a director of ops.
Right.
Or a travel director, or both. And they don't go to Seattle and say, hey, where should we stay? Now, there may be a guide where the NFL puts out, these are the best places for teams to stay. They've ballrooms for meeting rooms so that you could do walkthroughs or whatever, because football teams do have specific needs.
Yes.
Big rooms to eat in. So there's only so many hotels. But in Los Angeles or in Seattle?
It's ridiculous.
Come on. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous claim. Things are getting a little bit weird at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Last week a fan fell a couple of dozen feet. That guy apparently has taken his first step. He seems to be recovering.
Right.
And then last night, I think it was last night, a fan was hassling a girl who was working at a concession stand. And an usher came over and intervened, at which point the fan spat on the usher. Oof. At which point the usher started punching the fan, then took off his belt and started beating the fan.
Wow.
So
That's
naturally, the Pirates are punishing the usher.
Right.
The guy who got spat on. I don't think there's any outsized reaction to being spat on. You could at that point you could do whatever you want.
Taking a belt, that's
I saw the footage. I thought it was pretty impressive.
Wow.
Because he went berserk. The Baltimore Ravens, of course, cut their kicker, Justin Tucker, after 14 seasons because Justin Tucker went all Deshaun Watson. Like 16 different incidents at least where he got a little too handsy with massage therapists. And I don't want to make light of that. And this is a nasty guy who did a lot of nasty stuff, and he deserved to be cut, even though he was the highest paid kicker in the league. But the Ravens had said, well, we're going to wait until what the NFL decides on this. We haven't made a decision. Except in April, the Baltimore Ravens drafted a kicker for the first time in franchise history. They had never drafted a kicker before, so it was pretty clear they were going to unask Justin Tucker.
To the NFL's credit, they always take the best player no matter what, right? It was not a good year for Tucker last year. If Tucker had been as good as he had been, I wonder if they would have made this move, even though he is still facing trial on these allegations. This is not. I have a feeling this is not going to end well. It's already been a huge setback for Tucker, and I don't see anybody picking him up until he's cleared, and we'll have to see if that's the case.
Which I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't normally. I've never participated in the golf picks, but I want to reserve for the rest of the season Jonathan Vegas. He's my pick for every tournament just because I love living in a world where there's a professional golfer named
Vegas.
Johnny Vegas.
Yeah.
I just love the guy. He's 40 years old. He's won 4 times on the tour. But I'm picking him in every tournament this year.
He's yours.
I don't care what you guys want to
He's
pick.
yours.
I'm
You got
picking
him.
Johnny Vegas.
You got him. I like Johnny Vegas, but he's yours.
And finally, ESPN reporter David Hale lost a bet to his co-anchor Andrea Adelson, and he had to spend 24 hours in a Buc-ee's truck stop.
Who? What is this?
This guy I think he's mainly college football, I think, but he lost a bet to his co-anchor. And
Is he an ESPN guy?
Yeah, he's an ESPN guy. He's ESPN reporter David Hale, and he had to spend 24 hours in a Buc-ee's truck stop.
On Saturday, I played Miramichi, and the starter was saying to me, "Don't be alarmed if you see a guy out here wearing a skirt." I said, "What?" He said part of the fantasy league he was in
gotcha.
for football, the team that lost had to wear a skirt playing golf.
I think that's perfectly fair. I don't. I think
so funny.
I think that probably would be pretty comfortable.
I don't think I want to
about
be.
it.
I don't want to be in that league.
Oh, I
That's
think you've
just
got
me.
the legs for it. I do.
Oh, maybe so.
I've
Thank
seen
you.
your calves.
We'll see you
They're majestic.
next Wednesday. Mother's Day is Sunday, and Dinstall's is preparing all her favorites from Cashew Crunch to truffles and to my favorite turtlettes. Oh, I don't know if they're my favorite because I love the chocolate-covered strawberries and, of course, Cashew Crunch. So many choices. They're all so good. And so many good things, I can't tell you which is their signature. It's probably Cashew Crunch, but nobody does the strawberries like they do with the fondant that just makes the strawberry so juicy and so sweet and so good. I don't know. Don't forget, there's chocolate-covered grapes and pineapple, too, and all kinds of places to make it easy for you to make Mom's Day so sweet. Laurelwood, Germantown, Collierville, downtown, and where they make it on Pleasant View. And here's where they're going to be open 12 to 5 on Sunday, just in case you forgot. Laurelwood, Germantown, Collierville, and downtown. So place your orders now and say, "I love you, Mom," with Dinstall's. We love the next segment. It's Joe Dank. We talk the business of sports, and he comes your way next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Oh, tasty high note. Oh, hi, don't mind me. I'm practicing my new baritone sax. I just heard PayPal's paying for people's stuff every day for 100 days, and there's 10 million up for grabs. All you have to do is use PayPal checkout online. So there's never been a better time to buy a few things off the old wish list, like their sleeve blower. PayPal can pay for your purchase. The Great PayPal Checkout. No purchase necessary ends July 18th. See official rules at paypal.com/thegreatpaypalcheckout/terms. Participating merchants only must use PayPal checkout online. Coverage of up to $100 and eligible purchases per card.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up. I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CLEAN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right? Your bank, PayPal, or a gift card from Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CLEAN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CLEAN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. Bonus Rebel Young is back. The online radio show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Nancy Porter with 24/7 Sports. Your Ole Miss defensive captain Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC sports, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Garvey. Kickoff every throw to extra innings.
We're going to talk some business and sports. Joe Dank, former GM of 24 and 30, a director, a producer of many television sports, joins us on the business. He's brought to you by Southern Security. Need cash? Refinance your auto loan with Southern Security. And you know what? You're not going to have a payment for 60 days. Southern Security will finance up to 115% of the current value of your vehicle for up to 72 months. That's a long time. That's 6 years. To find out how to put more cash in your pocket, call our member service team. That's simple. You talk to a person at 901-452-7900, or you can do it the newer way. Go to the website at southernsecurity.org. Southern Security, that's a proud supporter of U of M Athletics and 901 Women. They're federally insured by NCUA. They are your home team credit union. They are Southern Security. Well, you know, that's the Round Ball Rock. It was written by John Tesh. How many unbelievable things has John Tesh written for sports that all the networks use? But that was the NBC thing. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And it's back because NBC's getting it back. Joe Dank, I know you love that. It is a staple. I think of Marv Albert and Michael Jordan.
Absolutely. That's the first thought you get. Marvelous and Michael, those were the days. That was back a long time ago, David, 1990 to 2002. The NBA has not been on NBC since 2002, so it's hard to believe. But, yeah, Tesh finally came to an agreement with them. They debuted that the other day during the Kentucky Derby broadcast. It had NBA players. It had primetime NBC stars in it. Other athletes from around the nation. So, NBC is really going to try, I think, to reboot NBA TV, and it might be time for that. There's a fresh energy, and it could be badly needed at this point.
Well, we'll check into the ratings here because I know you've got them in just a second. But let me just start off with this. Does the regular season really mean anything when you look at what's happened with home court advantage? I just threw this thing out. I just think teams want to be in the top four so they have home court advantage for most of the way. But here's Golden State, a 7 seed. If they had Jimmy Butler the whole way, would they be a 7 seed? If they had really played all their guys the whole way, would they be a 7 seed? Indiana, a 4 seed, now up on the number 1 seed, to Love. Denver's a 4 seed. The Knicks are 3 seeds. And, OKC is another one of the 1 seeds that are 0-1. It is the way the basketball style changes. Do we really get that much out of the regular season other than the fact that we fill stadiums and owners make money?
Well, yes, of course. That is actually that's why it
when
exists.
Players make money too.
Exactly. So I think the point on this, these veteran teams with veteran players take a different outlook on that regular season. Now you have this situation where an OKC runs away with it. And they stumble in this in their first game, and I think they're in for a match there. Denver's going to play them because Denver has a solid core of vets who've won a championship, right? So I think, does the regular season matter? Yeah, it matters at a level, but it doesn't matter to the degree that we might think necessarily, because once we get to the playoffs, these veteran teams, they do take it up a notch. And I don't, everybody always says in all of pro sports, but it's especially true in the NBA. The energy level, the intensity, and to your point earlier on physicality, a regular season game versus now the round 2 of the NBA playoffs, I think we're talking 2 different games.
Well,
right?
that to me is clearly an NBA league decision because they change the way they officiate these games. They don't allow the kind of physicality and grabbing and pushing that you get in the playoffs in the regular season. That's a whistle. They allow cutting. They allow for a lot more, in my estimation, beautiful ball movement than they do in the playoffs. They want half-court physicality.
Well, the question becomes is this. Are the players playing differently because the game is being called, or do the players actually, as part of taking this up a notch, really increase the intensity to the degree that these guys have to let some of it go, or we would bog down and we'd have foul shooting contests every night in the playoffs?
Well, here's kind of what I think. I think it's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
There's more intensity, and the league has said, it's playoffs, man. We're going to let them do this.
Got to play.
Yeah. All right. How's that translating with ratings? Last time we talked, they were really good because remember, the last 2 years, the league's postseason ratings had slipped a bunch, and the regular season ratings were really not very good, under 1 million, if I recall. But they had been up the notch this year for sure. Are we seeing that trend continue?
We are. The first round was up about 8%. It was driven by the Game 7s. The Game 7s did extraordinarily well. Sunday night was 7 million fans. So
wow.
That's a big number. And so all of a sudden, and a competitive balance counts. This is something we might want to talk about as we go on here this morning. Competitive balance counts, and things that dictate it, I think, are pretty good salary caps and controls. The NBA is very strong that way, and all of a sudden you get penalized when you go over so much that you can't just hoard all of the talent in one place. So we have competitive balance. It's resulting in extraordinarily close games. When you think that there were 2 Game 7s in round 1, I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no.
Only one
I
sweep,
agree.
as we know, unfortunately, here. There was just one sweep in round 1.
Right.
But there were 2 Game 7s.
Does it help that you've got New York and Boston, one's the biggest market in the country, the other is probably the biggest name other than the LA Lakers? Those two are, I'm going to call 1 and 1A for the league marketing. Does that help at all?
I mean, who doesn't think it's cool when you say Knicks Celtics tonight at 6?
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want to watch that?
Do you think
TD Garden, MSG?
the country thinks in those terms too?
Yes.
Like a Grizzlies fan cares?
True basketball fans, I think, do. NBA fans.
Mm-hmm.
NBA fans, certainly NBA fans of a certain age that remember how great those teams traditionally have been and what they mean to this league. They're original NBA teams. I think it's very interesting. Hey, if you hear Knicks Celtics or you hear Jazz Thunder, I mean, come on. What are we thinking? You want to watch the Knicks or the Celtics play?
Well, when you think Thunder, Denver, does that ring you're talking Oak City, which is what I think they're smaller than Memphis, right? Very close.
Very close. They're two of the smallest markets in the NBA,
right.
Without question.
And then Denver's not exactly, although it's a
Denver's
growing
a big
community. It's a big market, but it's not one of the top 10.
No, but they have this unique talent. One of the best players on the planet right now. I mean, 42 and 22.
Yeah,
that is amazing. So he's fun to watch. No
doubt. You shot. What's your reasoning for 0-5 home court advantage second round?
I mean, it's there's some parity out there, and they're all taking it up a notch. Cleveland obviously has a couple of guys nicked. That has hurt.
Yeah.
For them. And then these finishes just have defied logic. These games were over. And the other team, and the road team has found a way to win. It's been amazing.
Well, you just heard 3 and 1,068. If you lead by 7,
amazing finishes
with under a minute to go, that is astonishing. All right, speaking of balance, competitive balance, let's turn to Major League Baseball, and that may be the league with the biggest differences when it comes to salaries for teams at the top and teams at the bottom. And is it true that you can always trace the money and see where the winners are?
Well, it certainly appears that way right now. I mean, you have a situation where the Dodgers have the highest payroll in baseball. It's around $400 million, over $400 million. You have two teams in Major League Baseball that are paying less than $100 million. So now, what's going on?
That's more than four times the amount.
This is a chasm. And how is it going to manifest itself? So not surprisingly,
in the case of Miami, I believe, the lowest payroll in the league, I believe the Dodgers are almost 6 times the payroll of the Florida Marlins or Miami Marlins, whichever they are now.
It may not be more complicated than this. Shohei Ohtani, their best player, makes $70 million on the Dodgers this year.
Yep.
The Marlins payroll is $67 million for the entire roster.
One guy
on
the Dodgers makes more than the entire Miami team. Wow.
So this does not bode well for competitive baseball necessarily. This creates huge chasms. The Dodgers are 24-12. The Marlins are 14-21. There's a nearly a complete flip-flop. And so something has to be done. Now, baseball has always had the most powerful players union. It does not have any kind of a cap. It does have a competitive balance tax that tries to discourage teams. But when you have the disparity of the Dodgers, the history, the market, and other teams, they can afford to break right through that and pay the extra because of their local media deals. Local media deals are particularly important in baseball because they represent a greater percentage than the other sports because there's not really a huge national television presence in baseball till we get to the postseason. So the difference is if you're in the right market with great history, with the right media deal, you can afford to overspend and you're going to blow right through it.
So the Yankees and the Dodgers, right? They're the top two. Dodgers 1, Yankees 2 in terms of payroll?
No, actually, the Mets are 2.
Mets are 2.
The Mets are number 2.
Oh, okay. Their local deals, they're making money?
Oh,
their TV deals are making money?
Absolutely.
We have talked about, the FanDuel deals, basketball and baseball, a lot of them have been dropped.
But not in these markets.
Not in these markets.
These are giant deals, and that's one of the things that hurts the change in the overall RSN situation is because in L.A. and in New York, they're all in pretty good shape, and the Dodgers have an extraordinary media deal. The Mets are in pretty good order there. They actually own a piece of that. The previous owners owned the Mets RSN. And then the Yankees are part of a deal that they've owned the Yes Network from the start. That's what it stands for, Yankees Entertainment.
All right, so let me go to Chicago, the third market, because I believe that they've had to do different deals. WGN no longer does the Cubs or the White Sox. The Cubs payroll is almost $200 million. The White Sox payroll is one of the bottom payrolls. What the heck's going on there? That makes no sense.
Well, it's the ownership situation. It's what's going on at Wrigley. It's they've created an incredible situation around the ballpark. The Ricketts family has put that whole thing together. They did a deal for a marquee baseball network that they have a piece of the action on, and the Cubs are on solid footing and have capitalized on it. Jerry Reinsdorf has owned the White Sox, some say, for way too long right now. But to have that disparity where the Cubs are, as you say, spending almost $200 million and the White Sox are spending $75 million in the same market, and we both know it's a great media market and it's a good baseball market.
It's a wonderful baseball town. If the White Sox, like they did in 2005, win, they draw like they do at Wrigley. The Cubs have one thing that they are very fortunate. They and the Boston Red Sox, two unique positions. People come to see the ballpark, not necessarily the game. So they're getting X amount of fans that are tourists that come because they want to go to Wrigley or to Fenway. And that is something they do not get on the south side of Chicago. As always, my friend, we appreciate it. We got to take a break. Johnny Lyon, Greg Hines, Mickey Barker, and myself. We all make golf picks on The Truest. It's a signature event in a new place. We'll explain in just a minute.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ. Extraordinary events from once in a blue moon, and right now, even the most extravagant luxuries are well within reach. The one and only May sale is back at Sissy's Log Cabin, and you can save up to 50% on nearly everything in the store. This is your chance to get the service, selection, and experience that makes you feel like family at the best prices of the year. Guaranteed. Don't miss the one and only May sale at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Is your captain speaking to the passenger with your fast talk to or move?
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Your fast works fast. Move out the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Move her, girl.
From the makers of Miralax, new Miralax soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Miralax today at your local retailer. It is directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 912715199. At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises. Now back to Wallow and Friends on Sports 56. Here's the voice of the Tigers.
Time to make some golf picks, brought to you by Memphis Public Links. You know, it's so easy now. You can go to memphispubliclinks.com, and it's just the perfect way to make a tee time or anything else. You get all kind of information about tournaments and everything else. Getting a little feedback on some of these things. I don't know why, but I am. Johnny Lyon's going to join us. Greg Hines is going to join us. Mickey Barker is going to join us. All three are in, just so you know. I'm going to go first. I got $2.83 million. Johnny is second at $3.9 million. Greg at $5.29 million. Mickey is our leader at $6.55 million. And gentlemen, we've got a signature event this week. Normally, the Truist is at Quail Hollow, but next week is where they are holding the PGA Championship, Quail Hollow. So they've moved this to Philadelphia, the Cricket Club, which is the Wissahickon course. That was an H.W. Tillinghurst architect course 100 years ago. It's supposed to be really hard. They held a senior event there in 2016. The winner was Bernard Langer, 1 over. What do you guys, I'll start with Greg Hines, what do you think we're going to see in Philly at the Truist this week? Good morning.
Good morning. I think it's going to be an interesting see. I mean, nobody's actually played this course in a tournament in the setup, but I mean, they're changing around the hole numbers. So, I mean, the first hole is actually number 8 for the members. So, right. And the last hole, number 18, is going to be number 4 for the members. So it's going to be an interesting week. It's still not that long. It's one of the shorter par 70 courses at 7,100 yards or 7,110 yards. So I think you look for a guy with a really good short game, good short iron player, and a good putter.
And a guy who knows how to play out of bunkers, because they got 118 bunkers on this par 70 course. Mickey Barker, Scotty Scheffler, 31 under last week. Pretty amazing stuff. Are you surprised that somebody goes that low? And he actually had a chance to be 33 under. He flubbed a little chip, and he missed a short putt on 18 that would have gotten him the record. He tied the record at 31 under. Is Scotty ready to dominate again, Mickey Barker?
Well, I don't necessarily really think he's quit dominating. He hasn't been winning, but he's been in the top 5 more than anybody else. It's just amazing his ability to hit iron shot hole high. And when he makes a few putts, he wins going away. I think the first day he shot 61, and he had 73 feet of putts, so he hit it inside 10 feet all day long. Amazing.
Johnny Lyon, have we got a new rivalry like Jack and Arnie? Is that what we're going to see? Because Tiger didn't really have one. Are we going to see Scotty and Rory battling last group of these majors? I guess we could throw DeChambeau in, because twice now out of those last 2 majors we've seen that. Have we got a new rivalry with Scotty and Rory that will really capture the golf nation again?
It's kind of hard to say, but it could be. It was great to see Scotty back in form, after the ravioli injury. We didn't really talk about much, but he definitely dominated, and it's going to be very interesting in the PGA to see them playing up against each other. But of course, they're not in the field together this week, or neither were they last week. So, but I do think it could be start of some kind of a rivalry, and it would be great for golf.
Which gets me back. Do we have? Is this going to be a new rivalry? Because really, the Arnie and Jack rivalry is truly what brought golf into the major form that we. There were a bunch of different things that came into being. Golf on television helped to populate the sport a great deal, but those 2 names were what really drove it. Greg, and I'm going to ask each of you, what's your favorite golf rivalry, and do you think that Scotty and Rory can do that same sort of thing?
I mean, it'd be hard to go against Arnie and Jack, right? Because Tiger and Phil was a one-sided affair, for sure. I think Rory and Scotty Scheffler is an interesting deal, because I think you got Justin Thomas and you got a guy like Jordan Spieth who might get career Grand Slam next week, right? Who's starting to play. His injury's coming back, so you might have a third guy in the wheelhouse in this whole thing. So, there's a couple of young guys out there starting to come back into form who have proven they can win.
Well, you make a good point, because Spieth could then become the second one this year. And what would it be then? 7th overall, 6th or 7th overall to have accomplished a career Grand Slam. Mickey Barker, does Jordan Spieth have that chance? I know we'll talk next week, but does he have that chance? And what's your favorite rivalry?
Oh, I definitely think he's got a chance. The way he started putting last week, he shot 19 under par. He got blown away by Scotty and Van Rooyen, but still, I mean, he's making putts. He's driving it better than he probably ever has. So, yeah, I think there's a really good chance. Favorite rivalry, I'm not as old as Greg, so my rivalry was with Jack and Watson, Tom Watson. So Watson, during my lifetime, typically got the better of Jack through those times. But, that would probably be my favorite.
I kind of love, just because I loved him and the humor. I love Jack and Lee Trevino, that had a shorter but an interesting rivalry. Johnny, last one on this one. Your favorite rivalry?
You can't beat Jack and Arnie. It was kind of the old fading out and the young coming in. So it's a little bit different, and there's so much money involved now that the rivalry, it seems like they're all getting along so well that there's not much of a rivalry, that, they just play for the money.
All right, let me get our picks going. Rory's in this thing. I'm going to ride the hot horse here. I'm going Rory McIlroy. Johnny, you go next.
Okay, well, yeah, he's definitely the one to pick this week. I am going to go with the guy that was playing so good last week, Eric Van Rooyen.
Van Rooyen, that's a good pick.
Hot.
Yeah, he is. Van Rooyen. Okay. Greg, who do you like?
We just talked so nicely about him. I mean, how do you not take Spieth?
Okay. I don't trust him, but you can have him. And then Mickey.
I will take Colin Morikawa.
Morikawa, guy. He's let me down twice this year. You guys have left Justin Rose for me. I'm taking him. I'm going Rory and Rose. Great Ryder Cup team here. Johnny?
Yeah, Jordan played really well last week, and it was fun to watch him, come back. He's one of the most fun guys to watch on TV. I'm going to take Greg's guy, Rasmus Højgaard.
Højgaard. And it's, two brothers. Nicholas, I don't think has made this because it's a signature event that Rasmus has. You going to go you lost your guy, so who are you going to go with, Greg?
Man, he was not on my list. Just to let you know this week. So I am going to go with man, you got me on Justin Rose. I thought he'd be there the second time around. We'll go with Victor Hovland.
Okay. Mickey, there's a guy I want that you got to skip him though.
Justin Thomas, I'll take him.
Oh, of course. You always get me in the end. All right. Should I take a chance? As Patrick Cantlay does well on these kinds of courses. I'm going to go Patrick Cantlay. Johnny?
Back to me. Okay. Let's see. A lot of good players in this. We'll try Andrew Novak.
Okay.
Playing well.
All right, let's stay international. Ludwig.
You're going Oberg. Okay. And Mickey, last pick?
Let's go with Schauffele. He's due to play well at some point.
Xander. Okay, yeah, I thought about it myself. So I've got Rory, Rose, and Cantlay. Van Rooyen, Højgaard, that's Rasmus and Andrew Novak for Johnny. Spieth, Hovland, and Oberg for Greg. And Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele for Mickey Barker. Signature event should be great, no cut. Gentlemen, thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, thank you, Wolo. See you, Mickey.
That's John Lyon, Greg Hines, Mickey Barker. We thank them. And again, we remind you that our picks are brought to you by Memphis Public Golf. If you want to book a tee time or find out more about tournaments or other events, all you got to do is simply go to memphispubliclinks.com. It's that simple, and it's a great website to go to. Don't forget, if you're 14 or under and you walk, you play for free. It's all about great golf for everyone at Memphis Public Golf. That'll do it for us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Pete Pranica on the NBA. We've got Jarvo. We've got Ron Higgins. We got lots to talk about. We'll see you then. Johnny Radio's right around the corner. Have a great day, everyone.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places. Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lake Louise County.